We are a newly created subsidiary of Eskom Holdings. We actually run through a board, and our role is to provide open access to different generators into the transmission network, to develop the transmission network, and also to, as we move forward, to facilitate open market, including trading of energy.
You spoke about challenges. That includes grid capacity. Talk to us more about that.
As indicated earlier on, over a period of time, we have, as a country, made significant investments in the transmission grid. A number of those were focused in the predominantly inland areas where the power stations are allocated or located. As we shift towards decarbonization, new sources of energy, particularly endowments of renewables that are based in coastal areas, we're seeing a significant increase in the demand for connection of the grid. So one of the benefits of having NTCSA that is focusing on purely operating the transmission system is to accelerate the development in grid. As indicated earlier on, but for the next 10 years, we need to connect 53,000 megawatts of new sources of power into the system. And that will require us to accelerate investments and at the same time to work with the private sector to address issues pertaining to supply chain, capacity for execution. At the same time, we're working closely with government on matters pertaining to servitude rights to ensure that we move forward at an expedited pace. We are also, from an NTCA perspective, positioning ourselves to be able to ensure that we are beneficiation or driving beneficiation as part of this demand plan that we've now outlined into the market. The priority will be focusing on unlocking at least 13,000 megawatts in the next 5 years through reinvestment in our current substations to make sure that we can actually connect that. At the same time, we're also looking at new transmission line as well as grid to be able to ensure that we can achieve the target we've set ourselves for connecting new capacity on the system.
If you can break it down, ma'am, just simplify it. What do you mean when you say you have challenges of grid capacity? What needs to be done to enhance or to expand the grid to allow these new energies to come in?
Yeah. So just to give an example, those of you who does long distance driving, you'll see that when you're driving in Mpumalanga or in Limpopo, where we've got a lot of Eskom power stations, you've got these huge lines that are crossing rivers and mountains. Those are the transmission lines. That is basically evacuating the power and taking it to where the demand is. So as we're shifting and developing new power sources, we then need to build similar lines to be able to ensure that we connect those new sources. Most of those are predominantly going to be renewables. It was quite exciting today in this session to listen to the plans of the wind sources, the opportunities, and that's what we need to connect. So if you look at the bids that we've had in the last couple of years, most of the wind power that is more competitive and provides a good profile, we were not able to connect those because we did not have capacity on our grids.
Do you have targets, and do you think that those targets will be met to expand the grid?
As I indicated earlier on, we are very optimistic as a board and together with our executive team that the measures that we are putting in place to be able to proactively identify the challenges, whether it's supply chain, whether it's capacity to execute, including working closely with regulators such as NESA to ensure that we've got a cost-reflective tariff to encourage investment in transmission, that those measures are actually addressed for us to be able to accelerate. We do recognize that we are catching up. There's a huge backlog, but we're comfortable with the plans we're putting in place that will be able to achieve the 50,000 gigawatts of 53 gigawatts of electricity or 53,000 megawatts of electricity connection but in the next 10 years.